So, yes.
So Elodie again.
Elodie again versus Sedge. Alsame going on player 1 side in the reds, and Sedgehun on player 2 side in the blue.
I don't really understand the Elodie pick when you probably have like better options available. Especially on Rustic. Like on Oblivion you have a bit of a case to do it, but here it's really easy to spam spears and like just force a stalemate-ish position or like a staring position.
I'm wondering if Alsame has anything in particular planned. And
The other thing I remember is
I was,
someone mentioned that like Sedge. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna defer to you on terms of like levels of strategy, because I haven't seen too much Rustic since the early rounds. I don't know if this map has like seen much meta changes since we started the tournament.
I don't think we saw like a lot of the true Rustic in like the first round because a lot of it was like you had a big skill gap differential. Uh, someone did mention also that Sedge really doesn't like to build golems, so that's also makes like an Elodie pick even more mysterious because then like you only really have Elodie for like the dragons that they build, and this map isn't really a dragon map, and Sedge doesn't always build dragons, so it's really mysterious.
And right now we're seeing, I'm assuming Elodie's gonna heal off this village to her right. Sword's gonna go for the capture first.
Yeah, Alsame's going pretty standard opening. Sedge, on the other hand, is going for something a bit weird. Normally, you don't heal off that village.
Do you think he's gonna try and not decap this village in one shot, but try and get the, I guess, the double hit off of it?
Yeah, I think so.
He may actually just be able to decap it though.
In 2 hits, he should be able to. Yeah.
Let's see if that's what he's gonna go for. Yeah, he does, and it survives on 3 health, so he's gonna get another hit next turn, and that'll put him on, what, 50% by the end of that turn?
Yeah, something like that.
And 55
I think
even,
55, yeah.
so
But I
he's
don't think
gonna
this...
be like pretty close to getting his groove, as opposed to Alsame, whose Elodie is really far away.
Yeah, but Alsame will get a decap, so he's only really like a hit away. So that's not much. But yeah, I don't think this opening is very good from Sedge. Because there's an opening if you want to get more groove that lets you get like 2 decaps, and you have you're healed. Like right now, he's not going to be healed, so that removes a lot of the pressure. So if you want to groove, he could have went for that more aggressive opening to get. But like this, he's not healed. He's getting less than 2 decaps worth. So I don't know.
Ooh, and a knight comes out as well.
Yeah, that knight's pretty good. Since Sedge isn't healing, it's gonna keep him back a bit until he does get that heal.
Do you think it also forces somewhat of a defensive response in the south as well, because that option of I could just run my knight to the south and line up a crit on your headquarters?
Usually there isn't too much like threat to HQ. I think it's mainly intended for the north because Sedgehun doesn't have anything to really deal with it. Like his Sedge isn't healed. He has swords and mages, which really don't do well against knights.
And mage comes forward. Yeah, his only anti-knight unit at the top is Sedge. And he has to fight 2 spears as well. with like not
Yeah.
a lot of other support.
And again, like he made a dog. That doesn't do well against knights either.
Yeah, it'll do okay against the spears, but not amazingly.
Yeah, against the spears, he also like against both the spears and the knights, he doesn't really have things that can get rid of them. Like mage and sedge can do a good amount, but against both, it's a bit hard.
Part of me really wants to see this knight go to the south. I mean, I know you're saying the north is the much better option, but
The problem is you don't really have like good targets with it. Like the same thing as the knights are gonna attack is what your commander's gonna be attacking.
oh, but the
Oh, but
knight
he
does
does
go.
do it south.
Yeah, he's just gonna threaten headquarters.
I think his plan is to crit the top village, send Elodie to the bottom village.
Ooh, I like that. But on top of those options, you also can just target the swords too. So he's
Yeah, but
threatening a lot of different squares. Like even if he doesn't go for it, the threat exists. So he's giving himself lots of options.
yeah, like there is a threat if that sword in front of HQ moves, just to hit the HQ with Elodie, set up a knight crit, and then he only needs a bit more to get.
And now Sedge is being very aggressive because this knight's no longer being able to defend the north, but there's a couple spears and a mage up here, so that's going to be pretty threatening. I think rifles can come out on this map as well, so he could build one to defend his headquarters.
Right now, a rifle is like way too early of a build. Like you build rifles here because like this map usually you start staring a bit, but not at this stage. You need to be in at least like turn 10, 12, maybe 15. Like I had a game in Test Your Metal against Louis, and that was a game where like rifles really saw a lot of play, because you got to that kind of stage.
I guess actually Elodie can just run in, can't she, and hit the headquarters.
Yeah, now that's a big threat. Might be like I don't know. Is his HQ just dead?
It depends on if some kind of almost surround comes in on Elodie, but the knight isn't going to be able to reach behind her. I guess the sword could, but that mountain is completely available for her to run away to.
But like Alsame went for the capture with his sword. So if you wanted to go for HQ, he should have had the sword forward. Because Sedge could use like the sword he has under HQ to interrupt a knight crit path. And right now he can't. If Alsame goes for the HQ rush, he can't eliminate that sword.
I think
Unless he uses like commander and sword.
Sedge has a really good coverage on that north village, so the knight can't really go for a crit on it. Because it will get counter crit in return.
Well, Alsame could build a knight, and that covers the counter crit.
Oh, you're right, actually. So then it starts becoming about trading knights. Which, actually at the moment I don't really like the idea of, because Sedge does have an economic lead.
Well, he's gonna lose it this turn if it should even up.
Ooh, Alsame builds a knight on the north.
I guess he's not going for the HQ rush, but I guess we kind of saw that when he went to capture the bottom corner. I don't really like how Alsame's dealing with the north. He's kind of allowing Sedge to get a decap on the more central village. Okay, I guess he does go for the HQ rush.
Alright. This is interesting. Moves the sword in to cover behind, if it comes to that.
I wonder if he just noticed it now. And that's why he kind of did a bunch of stuff you wouldn't expect if you were looking to rush HQ.
Oh, this is tense. They're going for a really aggressive play. So, I mean, this could be over in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he moves. Oh, the knight isn't in crit position, I don't think. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it isn't. I guess he's trying to exploit the defensive reaction. Like it's more of a positional HQ attack than a actual, like you're trying to win.
Oh yeah, you're just trying to pressure and threaten rather than win the game outright in a quick blaze of glory. Builds another dog to follow up. I don't quite know how I feel about that because there's 2 knights here. The dogs aren't going to do that much to them.
Yeah, but I guess he just wants more bodies to help. But I guess Alsame's point is that he can kill whatever unit goes, or cripple if it's a knight, whatever unit goes under the HQ. And then he can do a lot more stuff. And Sedge can't really control the mountain, so you could see like Elodie go into the mountain and then sword crit. And in the north, we saw Sedge decapping the village because Alsame just made it very easy to do.
Yeah, ooh, dragon comes out. Which I like a lot because it means that this headquarters is now very covered.
Yeah, that's a pretty good choice. Now he's not losing HQ, exploiting Alsame's lack of mages.
Oh, yeah, the only mage is like up here in the top left, so Sedge is in a really secure position. He has a big economic lead, which he's holding on to. His headquarters
Alsame's
is
not
pretty
gonna
safe.
claw back.
Yeah, this is I don't really know what Alsame does in this position.
Yeah, he has to just like retreat, but he can't even heal. That's a problem.
Yeah, he's gonna get a very... That heal will keep him alive, but it's not gonna be enough health to threaten pressure back. Ooh, and the surround comes in.
I like this round. It's a very positional surround because it
Yeah.
forces Alsame to commit the knight and the sword, so it's free dudes for Sedge to kill.
Yep.
Yeah, Sedge is playing this really well. Alsame went for kind of a half-hearted attempt at HQ and it backfired. because other than like the immediate problems of like commander being pushed back and losing units, Alsame also has this income lead that he isn't looking at clawing back anytime soon. Because the idea was he was gonna decap one or both of the villages at the bottom, but now that's not the case.
Yeah, I think if he'd gone for the hit on the village in the south, like he'd probably be in a better position right now than going for this
Yeah, he could have
particularly
kept
like
it pretty.
risky dive on the headquarters.
Yeah, he could keep it pretty equal because he knocks out both villages. Income goes back to neutral. Gets groove.
And I feel like we're not going to see anything on this turn happen for 1 or 2 minutes potentially.
He's really going into the think.
Because he has to sacrifice. I guess the sword has to hit the top and the knight has to hit the left. That's the probably the most safe way of doing that.
Yeah, but you still lose both units.
Yeah.
This game now just becomes like a very big trouble for Alsame because like he's spending a lot of time, so his time situation is not that good, and he's gonna have to draw out the game if he wants any chance to win because of this like early deficit.
And actually, look, I'm looking at Sedge. Sedge is 90% groove, so if 2 attacks come out on him, like if Alsami tried to do any kind of like, I'm just gonna pressure by hitting your commander a bunch, he's gonna have groove, and that's gonna create a situation where he just won't be able to. How do I put this? Like Sedge is just gonna be able to murder everything because he has enough units that just deal damage around him, and then he can run back and heal afterwards.
Yeah, the other main problem is like Sedge is that Alsame wants to play for a late game state now, but like Sedge is gonna get groove very very soon, and he just wins in like those late game positions, especially against Elodie. Like he'll just out trade because he has 35% damage against every unit, and Sedge can get like tons of actions off.
Yeah, and it's not like Elodie is close to having groove either, because like that's what allows this dragon to be such a big threat, is that Elodie is so far from groove that like if she had groove, the dragon, like, you know, it can't go in as much. But yeah, it's just he's very helpless. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Alsami just threw in the towel right now.
It's too early to just like throw in the towel, but it's a very difficult position to play, and you can kind of see that from how much time he's spending. Because like, what are you really playing for in this position? Like you want to kind of drag it out, but that's you don't win those positions against Sedge, and you kind of have to hope he throws away his commander.
Okay, so the mandatory I have to do this to keep my commander alive play comes out.
Yeah, after 4 minutes of thinking. But I don't really see what kind of insights he got out of that 4 minutes.
Yeah, maybe considering like the overall game plan, but you can do that after you do the obvious stuff, right?
Yeah, if you want to think about overall game plan, it's best to do it during your opponent's turn.
The main thing I'm thinking here is he needs to build a mage on that South Rax, because the dragon's just going to go to town otherwise.
Yeah. And even then the mage won't kick in for some time, so Alsame is going to lose some villages, and he's going to get pushed back a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on the board right now. Although Sedge does have to be fairly careful because if he plays this wrong, he can still lose his headquarters.
Well, not really, because he can kind of kill everything that's a threat. Like, he can cripple the knight. His dragon comes in. Like, the only way you lose the headquarters right now is if commander and knight hits. And that even right now is a roll. And not a particularly favorable roll. Like, you need a high roll.
It would take a massive series of misplays from Sedge to allow that to happen. So
Yeah, like, Sedge would have to not block the bottom side of the HQ. He would have to not attack the knight. But I guess maybe Alsame's paying for his low tier pick against Sedge. So he's tried some of the stuff in competitive games, like he used Merciful against Loveless in Test Your Mind December. So he's not.
well, he did
He's not
win
not
with Elodie already. Like he's done it
yeah.
once, so maybe he was just thinking, "Oh, I can do this again." I'm gonna have a quick look at the bans again.
The thing is, Oblivion, like for Elodie, is like very different from Rustic. Like Oblivion, there's a little bit of a case you can make. Like it's not a good pick, but like you could say, okay, well golems are good, so you can do some things.
I'm
But
just
here
looking
they're
at the
just
bans. Caesar, Wolfar, Vesper, and Tenri. So there were still some good options on the board.
yeah, you still had Ragna. And she's
Koji.
strong on this map. Yeah, also Sama used Koji versus me, so he has a Koji. And he's spending so much time.
This is a
He doesn't
long
have
time to spend
move.
on a turn.
He spent 9 minutes on this turn, and it wasn't such a hard turn. Okay, he hits Sedge. Probably not a good choice, because Sedge kind of has to retreat anyways. And you might just like lose the spear if he like sends a dog in. And of course it means he gets Groove when he ends his next turn. Which really limits Alsame's ability to punch back. Because there's suddenly always 35% damage going on to any.
Yeah. I mean, like, the big thing here is, like, Sedge can't punch the headquarters down. I would say he's losing the north, but definitely not favorable for him at the moment. Like, he's not going to be able to, like, munch his way through that force. But on the south side, he's absolutely dominating. And he's got a dragon that can just do whatever it wants.
Yeah, all he has to do in the north is just hold the villages, which is he's going to be able to do very easily. And then in the south, he's just really running things over. And he's already has an income lead as is, so it's just going to get larger. And the gap's going to get bigger. Like, I think killing the knight is a good play. And Sedge is going for it.
Yeah, he uses the sword to finish it off. And I like that he uses the sword last because it means Elodie like just doesn't have the option of killing the sword.
I don't think she has the option anyways. It's too dangerous. There's knights. You're going to get surrounded maybe. Dragon.
Yeah, I mean this mage could even come down that's on the mountain right now.
Yeah.
It just wisely pulls back, heals. He can't beat that army in the north, but he doesn't have to. And he's gonna have Groove, so
yeah.
At any moment he can threaten to just pick off units and run away.
At this point, if I'm Sedge, I'm gonna just play relatively safe in the north, and then just to get things rolling in the south. Because the only way he loses is if he like overextends Sedge.
He even builds another knight, so he has everything he needs to start just popping villages.
Yeah, more knights is great because Alsame can't deal with them. He has like now it's his turn to have units that don't deal with knights. He's got a dog, a sword, a mage.
Yeah, against 3 knights, a dragon, and a mage. It's not where you want to be.
I'm sure soon we're gonna see like a balloon and archer to hold the position, maybe pressure the spears a bit later.
Oh yeah, Archer would be fantastic here. Just allows him to pick off spears, use Sedge Groove, run away. And every time an archer hits, that's a dead spear.
Like there really isn't a metric that Sedge isn't winning in right now.
Yeah. And like yeah, he has someone's pointing out time as well. He has like a 5-minute time lead. Ooh.
Well, you're just gonna lose the mage, so that's a problem.
Yeah. I guess it does mean that you can't do like a mage heal on these knights, because that would be quite a nice tempo play, but the knights have other things they could be doing right now, so and Sedge, actually Sedge could even run his own knight on the north down to the south as well. Just keep funneling knights.
I think that's what he's gonna do.
So what's Alsame gonna do in response? And he's really using his time to do
Yeah,
this.
like now he's just really asking for Sedge to just kind of time him out. He's like he can just play it really, really slow, like balloon archer, peck away at the villages. Like there's a free village at the bottom the dragon can take out. He doesn't even have to try to attack into the commander dog like mage setup.
Yeah, you could just go for the sword village. Oh, that is not what you want to have happen. Knight hits that village, takes a huge chunk of damage back. 19 damage. Okay, it's not gonna die immediately for that, but that weakens its ability to take out villages, take out swords.
Yeah, he got a low roll. 'Cause the village was at 70 and average, and knights do average 70. Wow, 12 minutes, turn 8.
Oof. What's Shu's rule of thumb? You should try and play the first 10 turns out in 10 minutes.
Yeah. It seems like a consistent thing from Alsame though. Like he's like whenever he plays like stronger players, like when he played me, when he played now when he's playing Sedge, he's like taking like 20 minutes for the first 10 turns, or even worse than that.
And this happened last game actually. He took quite a while and then managed to pull out a win, but
Yeah, but if Sedge was just a bit more careful and maybe he played a little bit more for timeout, he Alsame wouldn't really have a chance because he would have to rush in, and that wouldn't work. Like last game, Sedge giving away the golem was a huge mistake. Like he could just sit back. He didn't have to go in.
we're going to take a quick look at this overview. So Sedge continues to hold an income lead, has even units at the start of his turn, and generally speaking you always want to play to have the unit advantage at the end of your turn, so when you start with equal units to your opponent, and in this case like Sedge has a dragon, he's got a bunch of knights out, not like he's got a bunch of swords against like his opponent's much heavier tech army. It's, well, in the north that's the case, but in the south he definitely has a big advantage.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good like unit value lead. He's probably like you could easily say even if he doesn't kill anything, that he's like 1 unit ahead because of the like there's 2 production facilities, like 2 Raxes. So half of that is 1 unit.
Even though he took a bunch of damage on his knight, this is like quite a nice play. Just captures
Yeah,
a
it's the
village.
safe play, and it's a good play.
And it threatens a surround if a punish tries to come in on it. So, let's say the sword goes in and capture. Like, Elodie can't run down and hit that sword for as much as she'd want to because there's just a big trap laying in wait for her. So Sedge can continue to just sweep this southern side. Build up an income lead again.
The big problem you also have is that if you really lose this like south side and like the north side for Sedge, you lose it really hard because like once you have like knights getting like the village that Sedge just got, the village in the corner also falls, and that one is a really hard village to retake once you lose it. Looks like the newly built knight Sedge moved in to set up a knight crit in case Elodie comes in to try to kill the sword.
Yeah. That is not where Elodie wants to be.
Like Elodie can get groove off Sedge's like central village, but like even groove doesn't really help you that much here.
It does, it creates a level of spacing. And also, because the headquarters itself is quite vulnerable now, so in theory you could see something like she grooves a knight and then knight crits the headquarters with it and does something kind of cool like that, but yeah, like she isn't going to get a lot of groove or a lot of opportunities to use her groove. So it's more of a threat than anything else, whereas like Sedge is going to start being able to pick off units. Like he's a much bigger threat with his groove right now.
Yeah. And he will be a threat for the whole game. Elodie only can use it once. So it looks like Sedge wants to get the top village and pressure HQ a little bit. Balloon Spear is a good choice. Even though Balloon Archer might have just been better. Again, I don't know, because Alsame is getting knights to try to fight back.
Okay, gonna use the dog. Oh, that's not what you want to have happen.
I guess that's why you don't use the dog to weaken the village.
Yeah, probably should have used a mage to really knock it down. Or healed Elodie first. And the really rough thing about this is that, let's say a unit comes in from the left side to protect Elodie. Like a knight can come in and crit that unit, and then like you've got a bunch of other units that can kind of follow up and pressure. Golem comes out from Alsame. Really wants that headquarters defended, because there is a level of threat here, right? Like the knight can line up to crit. There's a bunch of other units that can line up and start hitting it.
Like if you allow commander to safely hit your HQ, then you lost the game. Golem is also like one of the better units to fight against Sedge, just because it's hard to get it down into the 35%.
Yeah, especially Sedge doesn't have good units for doing that. There isn't an archer up here to help, like, chisel it down a bit. You'd have to, like, sack swords or something to do that. But yeah, that isn't an option at the moment. This mage sword is actually a really nice position.
Yeah, but I think maybe his HQ is dead now, because he doesn't. Unless he moves maybe a mage to get to the mountain. Like I think Sedge can just move in safely to hit the HQ, and then he puts a night crit behind, and then I'm sure he can get something after that.
I guess the option I would consider going for is like Sedge kills the sword crit at the top, like dog hit
And then, like,
next to it.
you can go for that. A lot of good options here.
Or actually even like sword hits the mage and then both dogs hit the headquarters, so you get a dog crit and a dog hit. You line up the night crit behind it. So yeah, Sedge has a bunch of good options here.
It's even better. Sedge kills the sword, and then you hit the mage. Like, but he can always just not do that and just go for like more economy plays. Like he just takes out the top village, take out all the free villages at the bottom. Like there's so many free villages. There's even the 8 health village kind of to the left of the barracks. That like if a mage doesn't try to cover that, like totally, the dragon just can kill it. But it seems like Alsame noticed it and he covered it.
Sedge immediately starts acting on his turn. There's definitely a bunch of very obvious plays that he can make here, so he's gonna do them quickly.
Yeah. I think he maybe recognizes Alsame's time situation. But if he does go in and do like this Sedge attack sword, like crit HQ, hit the mage, that's probably like the quickest way to win. Because like he's forcing a lot of like action, a lot of trading, which is only gonna help him with like his income lead.
Heals coming out in the knights. Yeah, he wants a
I'm a
lot
bit
of full health knights to be able to do crits and line up a bunch of different crit positions.
surprised he retreated. Like I think he could have just kept eating villages for free.
Well, he eats one of them. And that's really smart because the mage can't retake. It will just die to dragon crit if it tries to. Unless a second mage comes out to cover. But even that, like the knight position allows for the mage to get killed if it tries to capture the village, so he doesn't even need to use the dragon.
Yeah. Looks like Sedge is just going for a more safe approach, which makes sense. Like, you don't want to throw away your lead and you don't want to throw away the game. So he's going a bit more conservative, just kind of kill Alsame on income. 900 to 1300 right now.
Yeah, it has a unit lead as well, so...
And it's
slowly-
going to get worse.
Yeah, he's just gonna chisel away at him, which is a very Sedge way of playing. Just slowly building up a lead over time.
I'm surprised we didn't see an archer. Like, that seemed like a good idea from the bottom right. But again, like, a ton of knights isn't a bad idea. Because
Yeah,
the only
he's
thing
got...
that they don't really do well against is that one spear and the golem, or the 2 spears.
Yeah, he has 4 knights on the bottom and 2 knights in the north, so... not in a bad position at all. Elodie's gonna go for this village.
That's very aggressive, but I don't think it's good. Like I think he might just lose the knight. Like it will kind of get stuck there, maybe. And Elodie capping the village isn't very helpful. It would be better to get. Actually, I don't know what it's better to do, but capping that village doesn't help you because it's gonna get decapped. So you're not like denying gold. You're not gaining gold.
Weirdly though, there wasn't really much lined up to deal with this particular position. None of the knights have good crits on anything. So,
Yeah, he's not really set up.
and the other thing
But he
as
can just
well,
attack.
Elodie's gonna if he doesn't kill Elodie, Elodie has Groove at the end of this turn, so he has to be careful with how he attacks into this.
I think he can just throw everything at Elodie. Like send the 2 knights down, send all the knights up. Like if Elodie tries to take over something, she just dies. Like he can send 6 knights to attack that position.
Oh, that is true. Like, I guess he just has to do it in a way that means his headquarters isn't threatened, but you just kind of move the balloon into a good blocking position and there's nothing that can stop it.
Well, even like you can try to think like how does he lose HQ? He has to give up like 2 squares, and one of those has to be like and even that is not enough because like unless it's like double knight crit, but that's like really hard to give. So even if he goes like full attack and doesn't even see any threat to HQ, he can probably just go kind of. He'll cover those squares anyway.
Right, Dragon just flies back. Moves into a
So
very safe position.
I guess he is gonna send everything there, because the dragon didn't have to go. Come back. It could have killed the now 92% village near the rack.
But he just wants to threaten Elodie. That's what I'm getting out of this. And the archer now comes out.
Yeah.
And this feels like a good time for the archer to be out.
Yeah.
Because if Alsame does try and push into this, it's like super fortified and there is now an archer to defend, so.
But you know, if we ignore the time situation, there is some like danger here for Sedge, because if he reacts a bit too passively to what Alsam is doing, then suddenly you have the game a bit more even on income, and it's not as bad for him anymore.
He has to be really
But
careful
like
here.
that's
Sedge can get surrounded.
his commander should be fine. Like if the units move in to try to surround him, they just die. In fact, the only unit that can surround is a mage, and that's gonna get killed really fast.
You say that, but the mage can sit on one side where it won't get... It'll only be open on one square.
Yeah, if he backs up with spears, but even if he can't break through the spear formation, like he can hit the mage with the dog and then Sedge Groove.
I don't know. I think there's actually quite a beefy formation here that could come out.
Or actually, yeah, that can. The dog won't go low enough because it's on planes. So But I think he just can crush the formation. And the other thing is you need a lot of hits on Sedge to actually kill him. Like you right now you only have access to 2 sides, but you're maybe only dealing damage on one side. Because if the mage hits, then it's gonna die next turn, and let's say Sedge escape.
I think you go Golem hit and then have the mage run around to the other side of Sedge, hit the sword, and have the second mage come in and heal Golem and mage. Just like build a formation around Sedge with like the 2 spears, the Golem, the mage.
Yeah, maybe. But even then, Sedge isn't really in danger of dying. Because again, there's only 2 squares, so Sedge could just attack everything, but not break through. And it doesn't matter because Sedge won't die. Because if he only attacks once, that's 1 attack, and then maybe he can get maximum 2 attacks on the next turn. So that's not that much damage.
I feel like this last knight from Sedgehun has to move back a little bit just to be out of threat range of Elodie.
But he should just hit the other knight. Like I think he's playing it a bit too passive. But again, like everything kind of wins here, so doesn't matter that much.
If he hits the knight on the left, then Elodie mostly has to stay on a road to capture it. Like I guess you could move to the left of that knight, but
No, but she's just gonna get like surrounded, and all the stuff around her is gonna die. Like even if maybe she escapes, like she's gonna lose the whole army.
it moves that knight to a bit of a safer position. There are so many knight crits here. Alright, Alsame has 5 minutes left. What's he gonna do?
5 minutes, turn 11.
He's gonna go for the Sedge.
Yeah, I think he's going for your idea. So we'll see. I do find that sometimes Sedge is a bit too tentative. He doesn't push his advantage always to the maximum, which is what we're kind of seeing here. Okay, I guess there's a line between like being safe and being careful, and being a bit like a bit careless with your advantage.
He could die here. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the longer you draw it out, and the closer you make it, the bigger the opportunity you give to the other player. And then you can make a mistake, which was what we see a lot in Sedgehun's games. Like we saw it. I think we saw it in the tiebreakers. I think you see it a lot in like like the tester medals. Like Sedgehun doesn't perform that consistently, even when you think he should be like going like crazy in the bracket or beating everyone.
I don't like this position from Elodie though.
Yeah, she looks pretty dead.
There's a knight crit, there's a dragon hit.
2 knight crits.
2 knight crits? Oh yeah, there's definitely 2 knight crits.
And 2 knight crits and a knight is like, I think almost enough.
The knight on the road isn't gonna block. It's gonna get killed by the dragon. So, of all the options to escape, I think he could actually
Elodie
get.
isn't even full health.
Yeah, I think if the surround on the top worked,
Yeah, it
Elodie's
wouldn't
just
matter.
dead. Yeah.
Because you have like 120 before the forest defense, but like Elodie isn't even full health, so it's pretty dead. And he is going for what you said.
And I do actually think this would kill. I don't think there's actually a good way to break this. I don't know why he moved the archer.
Yeah, like the sword suicide and then dog hit is like a RNG way to break it. It'll work. But yeah, you're actually right. It is actually pretty. It might be dead, but it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, Elodie is very dead, so... Oh, yeah, it doesn't break. 36%. That is very unfortunate. And also, it doesn't even kill the other dog. So...
Yeah, he needed high rolls for it to break.
I feel like he's just gonna kill Elodie at this point, and that was just a, oh, what if kind of situation.
Yeah, he's probably like playing it out for us to see what if. But I guess that's what happens when you play a bit too coy and then you think you're doing something that's totally safe and then it's not.
There are many, many knights. He gets to choose which knight crits Elodie as well. There's like 2 here that can line up for the crit.
Yeah.
You can even crit the dog behind. Oh, that's rough. Oh, and I just realized it's 2 knight crits and a spear crit because you could use the balloon to ferry the spear. So
Yeah, but he can just use the regular knight hit. Spear crit is 30 average and knight hit is also 30 on road.
fair enough.
Also, he had a
The reason
Yeah,
I
the
would say
second-
going for that would be like if you aren't entirely sure about getting the crit, it opens up
Whoa,
the
what is he
option.
doing?
So this is the other way where he goes knight crit, dragon hit.
Yeah, but dragon hit is less than knight crit. Dragon does average 40 on road and knight crit does average 45. Also, in the north, he had another way he could RNG free himself. Is if he took the 89% knight and hit the dog that is now 41%. Because that average 100. So as low rolls gets like below average, he can
Oh,
Sedge
then
move it and then escape and then heal or then
well, what he
he's
could
free.
do is he could then set up a sword crit afterwards.
Yeah, and then he could start killing
Prove that,
things. And
yeah.
so between those, he actually had, I think, a pretty good odds of escaping.
Right, 34% on Elodie.
Might not work.
Oh, but it does.
Oh, yeah, it works.
Oof, that was some misplays from both players right there, and
Yeah. Sedgehun really didn't make it clean, and then even in the last turn, he had like some ways to escape that he didn't fully optimize and go for, and then the lethal wasn't optimized either. Bit messy, but a win's a win. 1-1.
1-1. So good game to Sedgehun. Oof, that was a close call.